Hello, hello. I'm making a video about the now moment. I woke up today and I realized, after I had a dream about Al Gore, interestingly, I realized that we really have to get into the now moment at all times. Even if we're planning for the future. When we're planning, we're still in the now. Right now, I'm planning for going to the other house, what I need to bring, but I'm doing this in the now moment. Right now. I'm not trying to get out of the now moment. I want to really, as good as I can, to accept the very now moment with every single imperfection that's in it. This is the now moment. My hair looks like pot haircut. I am overweight. People hate me. This is an imperfect now moment. I want to do what Eckhart and Pema Chodron and Adyashanti said. I want to relax into the now. Totally relax. And that's when time, just from my own personal moment perception, stands still. There is no clock needed for that. There is no constantly in a frenzy looking at the clock and what day is today, what date, what time, what are we gonna do then? And so looking at the seconds go by, No, you throw that clock out. We don't need a clock, particularly not when we're trying to meditate, when we try to accept the now. When we contemplate on it, and we should do this every single day. Everybody should do this. Contemplate on the very now moment. And it takes a breath, That's why they focus on breathing, because when we're not in the now moment, when we're in a frenzy, we sometimes forget to breathe. And happened to me many times. Even in primal therapy, my therapist would notice, Nicola, you're not breathing. What's going on? You need oxygen into your lungs. And it's very good that she said that, because I needed to be reminded that I'm sitting there in this frozen state, like in the state of mind, like get it over with, or let's do this so I can move on to the next stage, or do this now so I can get this. It's always a frenzied state of mind where we forget to breathe and be. And that's what I don't want anymore. I become very crystal clear about this now. I've been intellectually aware of this. I have been listening to these people for many, many years. I've read many books on meditation, mindfulness, going within. It was always clear. It was also psychologically clear. But it is even more clear now. It becomes more clear every single day, because I look into myself, I observe what I'm doing, and I see that what I'm doing is not correct. I see that there I am in a frenzy again. There I am planning. What if this happens, then I have to do that. What if that happens, then I have to do this. What if this happens in 10 years from now, then I have to take this precaution. And it just keeps spinning itself. And that's what I don't want anymore. And that's what nobody needs. No one needs this. The animals, they live in the now. They don't do much of the planning thing. I don't know how much they plan or how they think into the future. The whales probably have that capability. I don't know. Or maybe the intelligence which exceeds human intelligence. Maybe that just dives into some other things, literally. It's like it's occupied with other things. Maybe they're all in the now, these things that are happening with the whales. But I would assume that when they call out, that since the sound travels for hundreds of miles, that they are very well aware how far the sound has traveled, and that they actually can measure where, at which coordinate point someone else is. So, and that requires time understanding here on Earth. So, but they're not, I don't think they're in the frenzy, even though they have more intellectual capacity than people. The land animals, they usually, from what we can judge personally or from the knowledge that's out there about them, the elephant is, I think, on the same level as the human. But the dogs, they don't plan much into the future, but they remember things. That's for sure. They remember things, and they can fear something in the future to come. So, but not very far into the future. It's more like the immediate future. So, and because of that, they're happier. They live in the now all the time. They enjoy this now moment. And when you are planning to go out, you put your jacket on. They get excited because they remember when you put the jacket on. You take them for a walk, and then they look forward to it, to the immediate future again. So, and they live in that now moment of enjoyment, enjoying that anticipation moment. And that's where we need to go to. We need to get away from the frenzied state of fear anticipation, and that's what they mean by going into the now, dissolving the fear and anticipation. I mean, enjoy the pleasure anticipation. That's the now. The now is always enjoyment. Enjoyment is always happening right now. I can't be enjoying something that is in the future. I can't enjoy it in the future when I'm in the now, when I'm right now here. When I'm talking about a future event, then I enjoy right now my looking forward to that future event. And that's also ties in what Esther Hicks is talking about when she talks about the allowing of the unfolding without resistance. The moment we cling to something, the moment we are, and I guess that's also what Eckhart basically is talking about, is when we cling to something, we're actually in fear anticipation. So, and that's what we want to dissolve. We want to switch that replace that with pleasure anticipation. And then we are on that road that Tony Robbins talking about and Esther Hicks is talking about. Then we are in acceptance of the unfolding. Then we are leaning back, basically, and let things unfold without fiddling on it, without interfering. There's a blue god out there. Yeah, so I have been always way too nervous, always. It's my nervousness, my fear of things, like what if this, what if that happened, also because of this frenzy that was going all around me, of these people talking about doomsday and stuff like this, even though I laughed about it, but deep down inside, psychologically, I was like, ooh, what if something happens, what if we all go crazy, and then what? Then we can't be responsible anymore, and all this what if. That's a fear anticipation moment that can escalate so bad in some people, including myself, that it can cause a serious nervous breakdown and panic attack. And the panic attack is probably, that's the epitome of a nervous breakdown. It doesn't get worse than a panic attack. Panic attack is when the entire endocrinology goes out of whack. When the pituitary gland is stagnated and isn't shedding hormones anymore, when there's like women that get like phantom pregnancy, which I had that happen 4 times. I had every single symptom of it. It didn't last that long, thank goodness. Only for 2 months. So each time. But every single time it happened, it was caused by a state of internal psychological, neurological freezing in, like out of fear. And it's like, that's like an extreme state of mind. And I see a lot of people that are like on their way to that state of mind. And I guess I had to experience it over and over again to really know what it is. And to really also know why this unfolds, why this happens. So now that I realize what it really is, it's not going to happen anymore. It can't happen anymore. I also used to have crushes on celebrities and stuff. I still have one, but it's not in the clinging thing anymore. I can let it go. I just wish this person total happiness wherever he is. And he's also my cyber angel. He's my guardian angel, as I call him. And Dr. Kurzweil is also my guardian angel. He's my cyber dad. And so I have these 2 guardian angels that it used to be a spider in my bathroom. That was the 3rd. But he didn't live very long. They don't live very long, but when he died, I was very sad. I actually cried. But that's the kind that hangs in a web. They are not dangerous. So, yeah, I don't even know if it's a male or female. It probably was a female, I don't know. I have no idea. So now I have another spider in the other corner in the bathroom, but that one is definitely I can discern this. That one is not a guardian angel, but he's just a happy fellow, so I can allow her or him. And I probably, people are thinking, no, I'm completely out of whack. But no, this is my creative state that I'm in now. No, I'm in a now state. I'm in a happy artistic state. My husband calls it autistic. I don't care. You can call it autistic, I call it artistic, whatever. Yeah, it's play. But yeah, I realized today these two scientists are my guardian angels now, and I'm extremely infinitively grateful to them to be there. Just to be there, just to exist. Even though I'm not like regarded as friend or something or buddy, but I don't have much to contribute to them, I guess. I'm an artist, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a mathematician. Math is real hard for my brain, actually. It's really difficult. I did a IQ test. I wanted to see how that goes. And it was hard for my because those questions were, I would say, 99% math based. Simple math, of course, milk-made calculations, but still, I had to do some thinking, and then I was nervous, fear, anticipation. Oh, time is running out. It was time-based also. And I did that on the internet. But then still, it turned out to be 104. And that was my very first test I did. So if I practice this, I could maybe reach the level of Hillary Clinton. 140. That would be nice. But I know one thing for sure is that Dr. Kurzweil exceeds all these charts. And so does Ben Goertzel. And so does Elon Musk, for sure. These three people, they're just way, way beyond those IQ tests. They're probably in the ranges of 1,000 or something. So I don't know. It's immeasurable. And so I don't know. I'm probably not a good conversation partner for them. I wish I was. I wish I could talk to them about panpsychism and cosmist philosophy. That would be great. But they don't have that much time. They already have awesome friends to hang out with, and they don't need extra friends. But I'm deeply grateful that they're there, and me here, Nicola, in rural US, in my recliner chair, I can enjoy them, and it feels good. Yeah, so it's not like with Ben, it's not like this where I have to have this guy, It's not like this anymore. It was like this. It started out like this in the beginning, and then I was getting a little bit stressed out over this, and then I realized, that's what I do not want to do anymore. And I'm putting myself out there. This is vulnerable, but I'm doing this also to help other people, because I see there's a lot of other people, women, who do the same thing. And I know from the past, because I've been on these fan club sites, like when I had a crush on James Hetfield. There were all these girls, and they were catfighting among each other, and it was so awful. That energy, I have to remind myself, like, just when I remember this, it's like I feel like I'm not breathing. So it's like, I want to tell all these people, man, people, breathe, breathe, lean back, turn that fan site off, turn that off, get off your computer, go for a 10-mile hike with your dog. Dog will really appreciate this. And don't go onto talk forums of suffering fans. Don't do that either. Because that just reinforces this state of mind even further. It's like, hey, I suffer. Tell me about it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. We are all so pathetic. Oh, gosh. And that's what Esther Hicks is talking about, Don't, once you go into a talk forum, like a self-help group type of thing, then they ride themselves further and further into that state of mind. So that has really no sense at all. What we need to do is, and that's someone else in the audience that came to sit in the front of her hot seat, he addressed that. He said, a quite advanced Abrahamist, I would call him. And he said that wouldn't it be good if we replace the word want with the word have? And that is the principle of Napoleon Hill, that's the principle of Tony Robbins, that's the principle of Esther Hicks, and I think they all learned from Napoleon Hill. This guy, that guy was very, very advanced. That was an advanced brain. That guy was very tuned in. He really knew what he was talking about. That was almost going into the supernatural perception, this guy Napoleon Hill. And that's why he wrote this book, because he thought this is precious information that needs to get out there. And so that's the principle for all of this coaching, success coaching and so on. Whatever you want to be successful at, whatever you want to gain, achieve and have, it's this, when we're in the state of not having, we're feeling sorry for ourselves, and we're putting ourselves into the state of mind of not having. And then from that state of mind, there is no creativity flowing out of it. So we need to let all of this stuff go. And we need to really accept, so this or that is probably not gonna happen. And that's okay, It is okay. I accept that, accept it. Not in order to get it. The same as enlightenment, we need to drop it. I don't want enlightenment. I don't need this other celebrity. I don't need to have this person. I don't need that crutch in my life. I don't need this confirmation or this, now that I'm talking to a celebrity, that some kind of boosts my self-esteem or my, that's always the mindset behind it. It's the ego. They will acknowledge me as an intelligent person, or as a woman, or as this or that, or as worthwhile. No, we don't need that to be worthwhile. We're already worthwhile, every one of us, no matter who we are. We can be Hans Wurst in the recliner chair, and we can amount to not much and just do basically nothing, We're still precious. Still precious, This precious living being, that deserves love. But give that love to yourself, Love yourself, whoever you are, however unempowered you feel. Give that love to yourself. You can do it. Write it down on a piece of paper. I am worthy. And my fat, most people are fat, and the fat is always this hated thing. And so then there's this fear anticipation, there's this dwelling in the state of suffering. I'm fat, I'll never become beautiful. Or people will say that they will never lose weight, or they never look like Charlize Theron or something. So they need to realize, who says we have to look like Charlize Theron in the first place? Why do we need to look like her? Or why do we need to be as intelligent as Elon Musk? So it's not necessary. We're already precious, We need to write it on a piece of paper. I am precious, and my fat cells are lovely, sweet, cute, cuddly little amoeba animals or something, And they are lovely, and they're here to protect us. They take the nutrients from our food, and they grow, and they give us a buffer zone, a spare tire, and an inflatable boat. And they are here to protect us from childhood pain, from the childhood molestation, from competition, from all of this. And we need to be grateful to them. They mean well, Then it later on, it becomes an obstacle. It becomes a health threat. It becomes an obstacle when we socialize. So, but in order to become balanced and healthy, to balance your endocrinology and your fat deposit procedures, that can all be balanced. That balances itself out by itself. We can calm down our cravings with meditation. We can eat very consciously. I ate apples, 2 apples for breakfast. Yesterday, it was kind of hard. I was making a video, and then I realized I couldn't focus enough, but there was also too much buzzing around me. Paul was asking me a bunch of questions. So then I needed something else. And my husband's very quick to give me something else. He doesn't want me to lose weight, I think. So he also wants me to wear chador, basically. No, not 100%, but almost like. He wants me to be buttoned up all the way to here. Don't show any little bit of... Don't show any wart here on the side. That could be seen as somehow hot. So. But it's not. Yeah, but I accept this situation. It's very flawed, but I accept it. This is the now moment. Okay? I'm in this now moment. I did create it myself. I did manage myself into this situation. I don't have anyone else to blame. It's always me. It's always you. Every single person, whatever situation they are in, they have somehow manipulated it to be like this. It eludes our detection, to which extent we have fabricated the situation to unfold to this point. But it's always each person. It's not other people. Nobody is to blame. It really isn't. And if someone is to blame for something, then we need to embrace that person and say, this is a tough teacher. And I am learning from him now. I'm learning now that I didn't learn anything from him. I'm learning now that I need to not be in a situation like this anymore. I need to learn that in the future, I want to hang out with totally free-minded people who are not putting a stop to infinity, who don't say that there is somewhere infinity somewhere stops. I see atheists do this as well as religious people. So there is no stop to anything, and anyone who is totally liberated in their brain knows that. Yeah. So at least my husband and Richard Dawkins, who are very much on the same order, at least they recognize that to a percentage, so which is good. Yeah, but it's really 100% open. But everybody is where they are in their state of mental process of learning. And I like Richard Dawkins. No, I'm not saying this to mock anyone. No, he's where he is, and he's very intellectually honest, and this is great. And my husband also, to a certain degree, but much more than most people, for sure. But then there is another level of understanding that exceeds that goes beyond that, and that says 100% open. But not in order to be tricked by the ego again, and in the case of some, as they call them, scientists, who say, yeah, now this explains now that there is life after death and the people experience this, and now I, as a scientist, I know now life after death exists, and now this explains Adam and Eve all of a sudden. That's not how it works. Absolutely not. And then you wonder, well, how far are they really open? Do they not want to try here to justify their religion? That's the thought that comes to mind when I see these kind of discussions. That we develop such observation acuity that we see through every single egoic or mental trickery, that the defense mechanism, the ego, is doing to lead us in a big circle all the way around back to the same, to that very same old thing that they tried to get away from in the first place. So we observe this, we see it, we pin it down, and we say, nope, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to go for this. This is just my ego tricking me back into the same old thing. Religion is always ego. We need to really get away from religion and from any kind of religious idea that we still somehow, somewhere cultivate in the back of our heads, and then try to justify with our scientific discovering, or which is usually not a scientific discovery, which is usually a theory on a theory of a theory. Okay, and that branches off into branches and little more branches and twigs and so on. And then it lost its origin of real hard science. And that's when we know, aha, this tricked us again. It was our religion, our ego, that wanted to trick us away from reason. Reason is when we work with the information we have right now available to us, to our senses, perception, measure instruments, statistical evaluations, and so on. Not a theory of a theory. That's philosophy, and it has its place, but it's not science. And we need to be aware of. Another example is when somebody who thinks they resolved everything, and they get mad at someone else. that is the indication that that person has not resolved everything. And those are all these indications. We need to be really, really, really paying attention to that, to all these trickery things that are going on. We need to observe ourselves. That's what Jiddu Krishnamurti is teaching. We need to become our own observers. The observed is the observer. We need to be both, the observed and the observer. And then we are in synchronicity with our own systems. And that's what's so incredibly important, to become in tune with ourselves and with the environment around us. And to live in the now, to really enjoy the moment in the now. To accept the moment in the now. It gets very difficult when we're in an uncomfortable situation, but the real advanced practitioners, they are able to accept the uncomfortable situation as well. The other example is the story that Pema Chodron was talking about in her book. I think it's in the book Places That Scare You. And she describes it's an ancient story of somebody, of a practitioner of meditation in India, and he wanted to be by himself. He went into a far remote log cabin, and he sat there in a lotus position on the floor. He had a candle sitting next to him so that he could see, and he was sitting with his eyes open, looking just in front of him while he was meditating. Everything went well, and then all of a sudden a snake comes in, and the snake crawls up in front of him and challenges him. The snake lifts himself up with all these muscles in the body all the way up, partly curled and partly looking at him straight in his eyes. And he saw this as his opportunity now to learn, to sit with an uncomfortable situation. And he did. He was able to do it. And he relaxed into the fear. This sounds like a complete contradiction. Relax into the fear. So if he had chickened out, he would not have been considering himself as an advanced practitioner. But he didn't chicken out. He leaned into this fear, into this uncomfort. He breathed into it, and he allowed it to be just the way it was. And the snake did not move at all, just looked straight in his eyes. A real large snake. And towards the end of this meditation, he felt, all of a sudden, he felt this real, deep appreciation towards that snake. He recognized him as a teacher. And he folded his hands together. He laid his hands together and he bowed down in front of that snake in deep appreciation and humbleness and honoring that snake. And then, not long after that, after he bowed down to the snake, he fell asleep, and then when he woke up, he realized that he had fallen asleep in this deep appreciation that brought with it such a deep relaxation. And the candle was off, and the snake was gone, and the sun was coming up. And he was in deep gratitude to this very profound experience. And he realized that he had mastered his mind, his body, his state of mind, his existence. He mastered his fear. So it was, when we say master fear, it sounds like we need to overcome it, or we need, that's all wrong. Even that word is wrong. When we become one with everything, then when there is no more conflict, there is no more I need to conquer this or something, I just accept it, in the moment of total acceptance of everything, my husband hollering at me, and I usually tend to get defensive, but when I really practice this, breathe, totally breathe into the situation, no matter how sharp the voice is next to me, and no matter how high-pitched and like a chainsaw, breathe into the situation. And he needs to do that too when he watches my video. He has to watch them several times. He needs to do this. He needs to do that when I talk or when I demand something. Breathe. This is very critical, that we breathe. The moment we breathe, all the way, fill the lungs, all the way from the bottom of the lung, not just the top part of the lung. There are people who don't use the bottom part of the lung, and that becomes infected when they don't do that. Then people had to have that part removed even. I saw it on TV and I knew right away why. Because they didn't live in the now. They didn't breathe all the way into the bottom part, and into every niche and cranny of the lungs. You need to breathe into your diaphragm of your belly, so that the lungs fill with oxygen. Oxygen is the total disinfectant, it's the total rejuvenator, it's totally detoxes the lungs and the whole body. Nothing horrific can grow when the body is filled with oxygen, when it's oxygenized. And we need to eat a lot of fruits to protect ourselves from too much oxygenation. So we have to have that perfect balance. This is very important. So whenever something uncomfortable is happening at the dentist office, in that dentist chair, leaning back all the way, sometimes being upside down, that's a perfect opportunity. I need to remember that for the next time, because last time I didn't do it. Breathe real deeply in and deeply out, and keep breathing and not force the lungs. Just breathe in and be really in this now moment and allow it to be the way it is. If they preach Christianity to me, the dentist assistants, breathe. Lean into it, not let your ego get all flipped up. So breathe into it and don't say anything. Just allow it to be the way it is. And that's how we need to live every moment of our lives. I'm making this video for myself too, as well as for everybody else. Take care.